Basudde, and I also go by Maya Spoken, and it is an incredible honor to be here with all of you. I'm very nervous, like super nervous. I'm excited, but I'm also feeling very empowered just by all of the energy that we've had here so far, so please give yourselves a round of applause. Now, to be completely honest, being here today is something that years ago I felt I could only dream about. Actually, last night, I was like, am I really doing a TED Talk tomorrow? Like, really? There were many things that I had to overcome in order to be able to even speak in front of others. You'll understand in a bit as I continue to share my story, but I'm here today to share with you the secret as to how I was able to overcome those things and be the woman that I am today. That secret is also called your greatest weapon. Each and every person listening to the sound of my voice right now is a warrior. I'm going to show you exactly what that means and why I can stand before you today and say that so confidently. I'd like to introduce you to your greatest weapon. Something many of you have run away from for a long time, your voice. I'm also going to show you how you can use it so that when you leave today, you can actually put it into practice and begin to see change in your life. Now me, I'm a spoken word poet, and we like to connect with our audiences, so there's going to be points where I'm going to ask you guys to say something back to me. Is that okay? Yeah. Is that alright? Is that alright? Okay. So, how many of you guys know the person next to you? Show of hands. Alright. Well, you do now. So take a deep breath. All of us, I know I need a deep breath. Turn to the person next to you and tell them to buckle up. Yeah, it's about to get crazy up in here. I took off my heels, I'm ready to go, okay? But before we get to all of that, I want to tell you guys a bit about myself and my story. Growing up, I was a very vibrant and bold individual, kind of like my lipstick today. I was known to say whatever I wanted to say, no matter what anybody thought about it. Does anybody know any kids like that? Like they just say whatever they want? Those are the kids, if you want to know if your outfit looks okay, those are who you ask, because they will tell you the truth. I was that kid. And so growing up, it kind of got me in a lot of trouble in school and definitely at home with my mama, but it was who I was and I was proud of it. I was proud of who I was. Now, one day, everything changed. I was 15 years old and had fallen asleep in front of the TV like many 15-year-olds do. I mean, I'm 20 now, so I still do that. I had fallen asleep next to the TV just before Thanksgiving weekend when a family member, my uncle, came into the home and assaulted me. For what felt like hours and hours and hours, I spent fighting for my life and fighting to survive. Now, miraculously, I did, but the effects from the abuse that night were just getting started. The decisions of the people I had surrounding me to not support me in my efforts to press charges against my uncle led me to believe that abuse was something normal that people just go through. It's a regular family thing, and there's no point in speaking up about it. This experience conditioned me to believe that this was something normal. Now, a year later, I'm now 16 years old. As a result of the abuse, I developed post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, you'll see that I'm also reading off of my notes, which is a result of my PTSD. It's also caused me to lose a lot of my memory from time to time. So I have PTSD, and the doctors decide, maybe she just needs a new environment. So I go to a new school, my family moves to a new house, and I start my new life. At the school, I meet a boy. Uh-oh. Is anyone here a mom? Any moms in here? Your daughter says a boy's name and you're like, who's that? That was my mom. And ladies, if your mom doesn't like a boy, just let him go, because, just let him go. Let him go. So I meet this boy in school after having this incredibly traumatic experience. And this boy hears about the experience, and what started off as something very innocent grew into an abusive relationship that lasted 3 years. As a result of this relationship, my PTSD grew worse, and I actually became paralyzed from the waist down because I forgot how to walk and move my legs. In this relationship, in the beginning, I made it very clear that I wanted to save myself from marriage. But this boy had a different idea. I was sexually assaulted, I was trafficked, I was abused, and most of all, I felt I had no voice. Now one day, something unexplainable happened. I came to a realization. The only thing keeping me from my freedom was this boy, was the images and words that he had put into my mind. This fear that he had placed into my mind of all of the things that would happen to me if I decided to speak up. All of the things that would happen to me if I tried to stand up for myself. But then I decided to flip the narrative. Because maybe I shouldn't be discouraged by all of these possibilities, but encouraged instead. Because maybe one of these possibilities was my way out, and I was willing to take that chance. So I began to speak up for myself. I began telling the closest people to me that I was scared for my life and that I needed help. The more I began to tell my story, through spoken word and other art forms, the more I felt empowered to leave this relationship. And eventually, I did, and although difficult, for a second time, I started my life again. Thank you. You guys are so nice. I just want to give you all a hug. Now, after starting my life again, I was a little bit discouraged, but I was excited, you know? Now, there's a purpose to why I'm sharing all of this with you. And it may even just be one person in this room. But there's somebody here who needs to see, hear, and understand from a real-life person, okay? A real-life experience and example that the breakthrough that you have been looking for your entire life has been hidden in the one place where you've been fearing it most. The one place where I too feared it most, and that is your voice. Your voice is your greatest weapon. Now, I realized I would be preaching to the choir if I stood before you today to say that we must empower the voices of women. I think it's safe to say, all of you buying your tickets and being here, you pretty much already know that that's very important. I find it very interesting, however, how so many of us are so passionate about inspiring women's voices, but often forget to inspire and empower the one voice that matters the most, your own. Some of us, myself included, even go as far as to diminish our own voices. So what we're going to do today is break out of that fear and break out of those insecurities so that we can begin to see change in our lives and everything that surrounds us. Is that okay? Yeah. Yeah? Let's try something. Repeat after me. I am a warrior. I am a warrior. Ooh, I don't know, guys. I'm not feeling it yet. We'll try it again at the end. We'll try it again. Now, before we get to that, I must make something very clear. It's important that you first let go of any shame, fear, or guilt that you carry for not using your voice before. Understand that it's not your fault. Understand that you have not developed the tendency to silence yourself on your own. Repeat after me again. It is not my fault. It is not my fault. All right. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Are you guys feeling it? Yeah? Okay. It's important to say these things out loud. I realized in a lot of my experiences, I had a difficult time believing that I was free because I didn't say it. All that I knew was the words that these men had put into my mind. Those words became a part of my subconscious. So what I'm doing by getting you guys to say these things out loud is getting it into your subconscious that it's not your fault and that you are a warrior. So that's why I do that. Now, throughout my experiences, there was a common theme that I realized would take place: the implementation of fear. Every time I was assaulted, beaten down, or done wrong, the abuser would use fear as a tool and mechanism to silence me. And for what felt like forever, it worked. So much, in fact, that even after I had escaped the relationship, the fear that he had put into my mind remained active and kept me silent for years. These symptoms are actually something most of us women face today. As women, we are conditioned to silence ourselves by a society that understands just how powerful our voices truly are. There's a reason why in social media and in the news you see more stories about women losing sexual assault cases than we do winning. There's a reason why on these reality TV shows they're constantly having women putting each other down instead of lifting them up. This system even goes as far as to tell us that we must do everything that we do out of fear. Fear of what people might say, do, think. A perfect example is makeup commercials. They're constantly telling us that we should wear makeup because of a fear of not being pretty enough. And then you have our real beauty commercials, which are telling us that we shouldn't wear makeup because of a fear of what other people might think of us. We are constantly being fed fear. From the moment we are taught to believe that we must silence ourselves because we are women, we have already fallen into the subject of fear. Fear of all the things people might say, do, think about us. Fear that it's our fault. Fear of maybe I shouldn't have worn that outfit. Fear of maybe I shouldn't go to the police. Maybe I shouldn't speak up for myself. We are constantly being fed this fear. But as powerful as a weapon like fear can seem like, it is no match for your greatest weapon, and that is your voice. Your voice, empowered to speak up for change, your voice with understanding of how much it deserves to be confidence, is the key to what we need in our society. Your voice poses a threat to the system of misogyny and patriarchy, and that is why it works so hard to get you to silence yourself. But I want to tell you what happens when someone exactly like you uses your greatest weapon. On October 30th, 2018, in an Instagram story shared with 1,200 of my followers, I shared the details, every detail, of the many years of abuse that I faced in high school and first year of college, even going as far as to share the name of the abuser. I finally came forward to share my story, to say me too, to say you're not alone, and for everybody else out there, something must be done. I posted the story, panicked, and then deleted the app. You ever post something, like, let's say this for a second. You ever post a fire picture of yourself, like you look amazing, and then you're like, oh my gosh, what if nobody likes it? So you just like delete the app or close it, and you're like, oh, well, I'm sure like one person commented. I'll go back. That was me, except this is a completely different case. But an hour later, I added the app again. And to my surprise, over 100 people had flooded my inbox with messages saying, me too, saying thank you for sharing your story. I believe you. This is wrong and something must be done. It took years to come forward with my story, because as a way to protect himself, the abuser used that implementation of fear to make me think like I would never be able to speak up. But the truth is, holding back your voice only helps those who don't want to see you succeed. I want to encourage you today that today is the last day that you will silence yourself to make anybody else uncomfortable. Today is the first day that you will begin to use your greatest weapon and make change. Now, I'm not asking for everybody here to become public speakers or go on Instagram and post a whole long story like I did, because using your greatest weapon and sharing your voice looks different for everybody. It looks like you going after that business idea that everybody said was impossible. It looks like you switching programs in school because you decided that what you were doing wasn't for you. It looks like you going to the mall and buying that outfit that you've been looking at for so long, and you just go out there and spend all your money away. Whatever it may be, using your voice will grant you the ability to be louder than the fear that holds you back and weighs you down. So here's my question to you. What will it look like when you finally use your greatest weapon? Will that one idea sitting in the back of your mind still just be sitting there collecting dust? Will that conquered fear be the exact thing that jumpstarts you into your true potential? There will always be reasons given to you why you shouldn't use your voice. Society gave me 100 reasons why I shouldn't speak up. But after I did, there's 100 reasons why I'm glad I did, and they're all sitting in my inbox right now. Each and every person in this room is a warrior, capable of accomplishing anything they set their mind to. So we're going to put that into practice one more time. And listen, if y'all do not put some into this one last time, I'm going to come for each and every one of you. Repeat after me. I am a warrior.
I am a warrior.
I am a warrior.
I am a warrior.
Thank you so much.